Yo, did you read Black Panther? Ultimate Black Panther?
Bruh.
Bruh,
Bruh.
bruh,
Yeah, bruh.
bruh. We gonna talk about this.
Yeah, this is dude. Yeah.
I mean, this is really
You
good.
didn't you didn't do
This
the intro. I'm waiting on the intro. I'm listen.
intro. Who cares about the intro? I mean,
Listen, I
we
want
about
the
to read Black
intro.
Panther.
Dude, I want the intro. I'm accustomed to the intro. The fans want the
Ah,
intro. We gotta have the intro.
fine.
Where's the intro?
Just for y'all.
Now
And
see, I like that. I like that. That was truncated. It was straight to the point. Yeah, you're on your thing. I like that. I like that a lot. It didn't take 25 minutes. I'd be getting sleepy after a little bit, and typically I'd be falling asleep. But
that's because
yeah, I
you're
like
old.
that. You're right. You're right
What's
behind
up,
me.
everybody? It's another edition of Wakanda Whiskey and Blurredom. Man, we've been waiting the last few days to do this one.
Yeah, that's true. So first
Did
and
you get your
foremost,
copy?
come on now. You already know. I got five, six or five or six copies
5 or 6
of
copies? Man, you can
well,
make some money on
the
eBay right now.
the different variant covers is what I got.
Oh, okay.
Um,
The
but
cover A is the one that's selling on eBay for like $50 or something like
which
that.
is ridiculous. But before
100,
we do that,
$150.
as we always do, we always start off with the whiskeys that we're drinking. Paul, we're gonna debut a whiskey that Paul heard about in Florida. What's the name of it again? I can't remember.
It is called Mosaic.
Yeah, Mosaic 1780 something. Fort Mosaic, right. So they don't have that whiskey here in Georgia, so I had to order it today. I anticipate getting it hopefully next week sometime so we can preview it for you guys next week. Right now, I'm
Before
finishing
you do
up.
that, let me just say hi to everybody in the chat. What's up, Bob Boy? Jack the Gamer was good, was really good. Pericles Dragon Balls, always welcome, our friend.
Mhm.
Couching and slouching with C Bizzle, Mr. Bryant Wilson. What's up, man? Psych Force, what up, people? We got Kenneth Gardner. Happy Friday, gentlemen. I can get a copy of
Yo, Kenneth, I got one for you for 500. Let me know. Hit me in the chat.
$500
500. I'll give you my cash app.
American.
Yo, look at his avatar. I like that. I like that. That's T'Challa. That's T'Challa. That's
Yeah,
who. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I
who I
know you
like.
like that black and gold look too.
You know when I saw that I was chilling. I
I know
was
what you're
listen.
cosplaying as with Halloween.
Yes.
Chill, mama.
Chill. What's going on? What's
What's
going on,
going on, eh?
our Canadian friend?
Got the variant I wanted, the grid, but it was one per customer.
I've
You must
got
be
that,
so
and I'm
good.
getting another
Oh,
one
man.
next week. John Thomas.
What's up? Fiction Ink Flow, man. This new reimagined is one of the best things since Coast took him to space.
Yeah, don't even get me
Yes,
started on
sir.
coats.
I agree with you on that, man. I agree with
Yeah.
you. Louisiana kid, what's up? What's up?
All right. So
Let's get to the
obviously,
liquor because I want to tear into this book.
well, hold on. First off, we always start off with our whiskey. We're not going to debut anything new this week. I'm finishing up my Greenwood
I
1906.
thought you were doing BSB. You told me you're doing
No,
BSB.
no. I bought. You're right. You're absolutely correct. But there's a whiskey called BSB. Paul previewed this or reviewed this one back like October, November last year. And when I bought it, I had forgotten that. But when he told me, I remembered, and I was kind of skeptical about trying it. So I'm not messing with it. So I may do it at some point.
Keep going.
So
I'll be right back.
yeah. So I'm just basically finishing up. You might want to mute your microphone too, dude. Anyway, so basically what I'm doing is I'm finishing up with this Greenwood rye. Greenwood is a black owned whiskey distillery. I actually met one of the 4 or 5 co-owners at one of the cigar bars I go to here in Atlanta, in the metro Atlanta area. And what I found interesting was the 1906. For those of you who went to college, you know Black Greek life. 1906 was the year that the oldest and the coldest fraternity was founded, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which I am a member of. But what's crazy is those guys have absolutely no connection with Alpha whatsoever. This was just a year that they chose. He told me the rationale behind the 1906, but I honestly can't remember. The Greenwood is for Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I'm from. So it was Greenwood, Archer, and Pine were the boundaries of Black Wall Street. If you take the first letters of Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, that's where you get the Gap band name from. Yes, Uncle Charlie Wilson is from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I did not know that. Little known Black history fact.
Yep. Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. Now, that's the whiskey portion. Before that, you guys see my shirt. Hurricanes. The way I met Paul exactly 40 years ago this August. September.
40? Come on, man.
I'm sorry, 30. No, actually, no. This is 04. Do the math, carry the one, subtract 30. 28 years ago. I met Paul 28 years ago at the University of Miami. The reason why I'm representing the Hurricanes today instead of my normal nerd tees that I may wear is because 2 members of the United States, the University of Miami Hurricanes have been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Devin Hester, return man extraordinaire, and Andre Johnson, who played for the Houston Texans. Hester, he played first for the Bears, and the Bears played the Colts in the Super Bowl. Devin Hester was the first person in NFL history to return a Super Bowl opening kickoff for a touchdown. That had never happened before. That was Super Bowl, 50, whatever the number was for that Super Bowl. That had never been done in history. Devin Hester took the kickoff in for a touchdown, just set the whole tone. They had Rex Grossman from the University of Florida as a quarterback, so obviously they ended up losing because Florida sucks. But the Andre Johnson was a wide receiver for the Houston Texans, and in fact, he owns a bar in Houston that I went to when I went down to Houston for the Final Four of March Madness last year. Let me tell you something. If you have the opportunity to go to Houston and to go to Andre Johnson's bar, his waitresses, his wait staff, Hooters ain't got nothing on the women that he has under his employ. Let me
Damn!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, bruh, like, because I mean, let's be honest. The waitresses at Hooters tend to be top heavy, cater towards the white crowd. Let's be honest about that.
Who'd you talking about?
Andre Johnson is a brother, and you know what we like, and he knows what we like. And yo, but anyway, that being said, congratulations to Andre.
Message.
Congratulations to Andre Johnson. Congratulations to Devin Hester. That the Hall of Fame weekend is the first weekend in August, and it is my goal and plan to be there for their induction. So that's that. Shout out to
Shout out to our brothers.
Now we get into the comic books.
All right. So Bo Big says Gators caught a shit.
Yes, they did. That's the only thing they can catch. They can't catch passes. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
So you know, Kenneth Gardner asks, "Is Eve Ewing's run on Black Panther over?" But before
in March,
whenever we get started with the Wakanda portion of our show, we got to pay homage to the King. Let's get it started.
So, spoilers. We're going to be doing something that we typically don't do. We're going to be giving spoilers today for a book that came out this week. You got a
Hey,
spoiler alert message? No?
there's a spoiler alert, but Derek hides everything, so it's impossible to find. So
Okay.
we'll go
So,
with.
Marion, don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Marion. Don't look at it no matter what happens.
Don't look at it! Keep your eyes shut!
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
so the Ultimate Universe was started back in 2005, roughly.
Was
When
it?
was the first?
It's around that. Where's my phone?
Yeah. All right. So check it. The main Marvel continuity is Marvel 616. That's where, Peter Parker, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, blah, blah, blah. Whenever you go to a comic book store and you read a Marvel comic book, more often than not, it is set in what's known as the main continuity, Marvel 616. Roughly about, at this point, 18, 19 years ago, Marvel created the Ultimate Universe. And the reason why they did that is they wanted to give newer fans the opportunity to jump onto a character without having to know 30, 40, 50 years of a character's history. Because with comic books, like soap operas, they are one continuous
Bro,
story.
that Ultimate Universe started in 2001.
Jesus, really?
Yeah,
So the first Ultimates was 2001.
yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Jeez. Okay, so 23 years ago at this point. So the Ultimate Universe started in 2001, 23 years ago. Ultimate Spider-Man was, I guess, the first book.
Bendis
With
book.
I thought the Ultimates was first, honestly. No?
Let's look at it.
Okay. So while he's doing that, so basically the Ultimate Universe, you get to see characters that you know, but in certain different ways and starting over. So instead of you having to worry about trying to read Amazing Fantasy #1 from 1964 or whenever it was, in 2001, you can pick up Ultimate Spider-Man and follow the story from that point on.
Nah, the
Right?
Ultimates came out in 2002.
Right. So Ultimate Spider-Man was the first one, which was
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought the Ultimates was first. So basically you had Ultimate Spider-Man with Peter Parker. You had the Ultimates, which was their version of the Avengers, which is why we have a black Nick Fury, aka Samuel L. Jackson, who went to Morehouse College, as Nick Fury. So we got to see these characters in a new way.
By the
And
way,
those books,
which Mark is referring to, the Black Nick Fury. This is the very first appearance of a likeness of Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury in 2002. So
right.
for those people saying, well, I don't like them race swapping the characters because understand. They didn't do that for the movies. It was in the comics. There was a source material for that in the comics.
Right. And so the Ultimate Universe is a new way to tell old stories or to see old characters in a different light. And the Ultimate Universe lasted for several years, then it went away. Well, last year they brought it back and they had like a 5-issue limited series, an Ultimates comic that talked about how things are where they are in the Ultimate Universe. Then they had the individual books, which started off with Ultimate Spider-Man, which came out a couple of weeks ago, which was absolutely phenomenal. And then this week, we had this release of Ultimate Black Panther. This book right here is spectacular, okay? I've got, as I said, there were several different variant covers that came out. I have about 5, maybe 6 of them. I don't remember which ones I have.
Mine's being shipped, allegedly.
Yep, but I've got that one. As I said at the beginning of this, typically we don't go into spoilers in a book that's been released this week but the Twitters have been all abuzz about this book. So we've got to discuss it because the hype surrounding this book, the hype surrounding T'Challa has been magnificent. Paul.
I don't even know where to start, but let's start with the covers. Okay. This is cover A. There was a brouhaha that ran amiss because this cover somehow disappeared. Penguin loses thousands of copies, approximately 12,000 copies, over 12,000 copies of Ultimate Black Panther #1. Comic shops face partial allocations or none due to the distribution mishap. Ultimate Black Panther goes to second printing before it even hits stores. If you have checked eBay, Ultimate Black Panther is selling from anywhere from $50 to like $150.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that was an accident or something more?
You know, it's crazy because this has never happened before.
This is what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. You realize before this book even released, about a month ago, they already announced a second printing. So in order for them to already announce a second printing, that means that the pre-orders must have been so high that they realized we're going to need a second printing. How is that possible? When the Black Panther comic book just got canceled. Well, if you are following the Twitters, one would assume that's because people were disappointed in the fact that the king did not become the king under this latest run. That might be part of it. I don't know. I mean, I like Dr. Ewing's run. It's a slow burn. She's world building. She's introducing new characters. It is a run that should go for like at least 24 issues for her to fully flesh out everything. She's not going to get that, unfortunately. But I do know that there are many people out there that really wanted to completely ignore Volume 8 of Black Panther, just literally ignore it and hit a reboot from her first issue. That doesn't really often happen in comics. It's not really how comics work. They don't really just say, we're going to ignore an entire volume and go to a completely different direction. She had to deal with it some way. But, you know, it really points to the fact of how passionately people really hated He Who Shall Not Be Named's run. And what
I think somebody calls him Voldemort.
Yeah, Lord, He Who Will Not Be Named, Lord Voldemort. I don't know, man. I don't know if these books disappeared or all I know is that Ultimate Black Panther #1 has become an instant classic.
Okay, so let me interject right here. Somebody tagged me in, you know how you and I both get tagged in a lot of Black Panther stuff by Theo and other people.
Right.
I want to say it was Theo tagged at least me, probably Black Comic Lords as well, in a post about these books and how some of these books have ended up on eBay, allegedly signed by Brian Hill, the author or the writer on this title. Well,
Wow.
Brian responded to say, yo, I ain't have nothing to do with that at all. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of bootleg, scam, fake stuff that's out there on the eBay. So, you know, if you're going to make a purchase,
This stuff's not adding up, man. It's not adding
right,
up.
just
12,000
be
books don't just
wise.
disappear.
Exactly. Now, I will tell those of you who are watching this, I have several copies myself. My DMs are open. Bidding will start at $100. So just let me know if you want your own copy. All right. All right. Cool. We got to get into the story, though. We got to get into the story.
All right. So let's jump into the story. There's a couple points in this book. Before we even get to the story, one last thing. I just wanted to share the covers. Again, as I said, cover A, I think, is the main one of that 12,000 that was missing. So that's
I think that was the only one. I think that was the only one, right?
I think that's the one that was missing.
Right,
People
I
still
got that one.
were able to get these. This is the design variant, the 1 in 10, done by the internal artist Stefano Caselli, which we're going to talk about in the middle because this dude's artwork is
Spectacular.
yeah. I mean, he's a dope
Spectacular.
artist. This is the 1 in 100 version.
I don't have that one.
Unless you were prepared to drop at least $100 or more, probably more, you don't have this in your collection.
Somebody I follow on the Twitters has that one, and they said that they spent $40 on it at their LCS.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
This is a dope one. This is the 1 in 25 Ethan Young variant. I like this one. That's a dope one. I don't know if I ordered this one. I don't know if I found that one. This is what I was talking about. This is the second printing that was announced a month ago. The cover itself just got released, I think, yesterday. But the pre-order for this came out a month ago. Then 12,000 books disappear. I don't know, man. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing. But let's jump into the book.
Yep.
Let's jump into the book. We have a lot to go through. So the first thing I want to note is this. The revised version of the War Dogs, I would assumably would be the War Dogs because they're referred to as spies, Wakandan spies. The traditional War Dogs that we know, or the Hatut Zaraze, the secret police, have the all-white outfits that look very similar to the Black Panthers. This is a new look. I really dig what Stefano Caselli has done in terms of the look. This man put some work in.
Mm-hmm.
He put some work in on the style.
Notice that black and gold that they were wearing, though, right?
You're gonna keep bringing up the black and gold. That's all right.
Yes,
right.
I am.
The other thing that we need to note is the status quo change of T'Challa's love life.
What Paul means by that in the main Marvel 616, although he's single right now because his ex-wife is out fighting and botting with some astronaut or whatever, T'Challa has not really been...
Make me choke on my liquor, boy.
Almost made me spill my yak. But T'Challa really throughout his run has not really had a lot of love interest in books. He had Monica Lynn back specifically during the Jungle Action run, and then more recently during the Hudlin run, he has been with Storm, and that was a whole big thing. I'm a huge proponent of that union. Right?
The only other woman he's been with is the blonde girl from
the
his
white
college
chick.
days, who
right.
was Everett Ross's boss at the State Department.
Correct, and that was during the Priest run. So, and he wasn't even involved with her then. It was just mentioned that, oh yeah, by the way, I'm sending you to my ex-lover's country to be his liaison or whatever. Yeah. So in 60 years of his history, 55, 56 years of his history, he's only been associated with 3 women. In this run, he is married to Okoye. But if you scroll up a little bit, you see that they have kind of like a 60s version of their union. And by that, I mean this.
Dick Van
if
Dyke.
You've ever watched any black and white television shows like
the Dick Van Dyke show.
Dick Van Dyke, thank you. That's what I was getting ready to say. They are a married couple, but they had separate beds. Why on God's green earth, logically, would you do that? But, for censors and the time period, you didn't have married couples sleeping in the same bed. Here in 2024, Brian Hill has them sleeping in the same beds, which to me indicates that this is a political union and not one that is romance driven. It is one to keep the nation under control, so to speak, but not one that's built on love. Respect, yes, but not romance, intimacy. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that's a dope bedroom. Bedroom is dope.
Yeah, the Stefano Caselli took it to a whole look. For those who are not familiar with this artist, what you know him, he did a lot. He's done a lot of X-Men work for Marvel over the years. Most recently, he has been my favorite artist on Al Ewing's Storm titles. And what I mean by Al Ewing Storm titles, the ones that he subversively labeled Sword, X-Men Red, this latest one, Resurrection of Magneto. He didn't, well, Caselli didn't do that, but those are the Storm titles. They didn't call it Storm because y'all wouldn't buy it. So they called it X-Men Red and Sword, but they're really Storm books. And Caselli was the artist on both of those runs.
I like the art in the Sword book. The Sword book was really, really good. I like that.
Yeah. Frustrated fan says, wait, they had a second printing already? Yeah, bro.
Yes.
Second printing FOC is early next week.
FOC, what's that mean?
So FOC, for those of you who don't know, means final order cutoff. We're gonna, the Black Comic Lords have been preaching this forever about pre-ordering and FOCs. People are finally starting to get it. People are finally starting to see that we're not crazy when we mention the importance of pre-orders, hence why Black Panther has now been canceled.
The main Black Panther, Dr. Ewing.
The main Black Panther was canceled, and why a second printing of this book, Ultimate Black Panther, was issued before the first book even came out. That's pre-ordering. FOC stands for Final Order Cutoff. It's the date that you have to pre-order your books for it to count. When I say count, it means every pre-order you do before the FOC is a vote that you give, just like you go into the ballot box and it goes to the publisher and lets them know people want this book. And that's what they count when they determine whether or not the book is selling, whether or not they want to keep publishing that book. When you say, hey, we don't like limited series, why do black creators only get limited series? Understand, limited series can become ongoing series, but it depends on how well it sells. Case in point, the Black Panther Volume 4, the Priest run, was technically a limited series. It was a Marvel Knights run. And when it sold well, Marvel said, hell, let's just keep them going. So what was originally supposed to be a limited series by a Black creator, the Black character, became an ongoing series that went, 62 issues was the Priest run?
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, because it sold. So you got to pre-order your books. I'm sorry, I didn't want to keep harping on that, but it's important. How are they in love? I Love Lucy separated bed-style bedroom.
Right.
T'Challa and Storm is the end game. That's what I think. I think that's what's going to happen. I hope so.
Yes.
Maybe Ultimate Okoye is into women.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, maybe
it's possible. It's possible. I'm digging the first issue.
We are as well.
I'm on.
Kimmy Kim, go back. That's my girl, Kimmy Kim. What's up, Kim? How you doing? Good to see you.
Cook County Kim?
Kimmy Kim. I've known Kim for, I'm not going to say how long, but she's who I stayed with when I went to Houston for the Final Four. That's my girl from the military.
I always thought T'Challa tapped Princess Xanda at one point. The way that she was into him, for those who don't know, Princess Xanda was in Volume 1, the Kirby run. She was this princess that was obsessed with T'Challa. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
it was never expressed, but Ed wouldn't be surprised if he had a sneaky link.
I think something happened. Well, I think the second printing has a lot to do with the missing books shenanigan. No,
because that happened even before the books went missing. No,
yeah, they came out a month ago. Yeah. So look, here's the other point I wanted to make. The next thing I thought was interesting, because we're gonna go through the book basically page by page.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next interesting? Oh, this is the panel that I thought Marc would enjoy. Here. My man wearing his black and gold fit. So
Look at that. Look at that. Matter of fact, that's almost like what I wore when Paul came. Okay, so look, Paul's my boy. Love him like a step cousin. He came up here 6 years ago at this point to watch. This fool left Florida, came up here to Atlanta to go watch Black Panther with me. We both dressed up, right? I had on a black and gold shirt that was almost similar to what he has on right there. What I love about this panel specifically, especially when you consider how Black Panther T'Challa has been treated over the past 2-3 years, look at the reverence that his subjects are showing him, right? They are on their knees bowing. If you remember, what was it? Avengers Infinity War, when Bruce Banner went to bow, T'Challa was like, no, we don't do that here. Well, obviously in the Ultimate Universe, they do in fact do that. These dudes are supplicating themselves to this man. That shows the regalness of this character that has been missing for the past couple of years. And yes, that black and gold is tight.
You know, doing comic books is a collaboration between a writer and artist. People forget that the art part of comic books, is part of the storytelling. In the grand scheme of things, Brian Edward Hill did not have a lot of dialogue in this book. A lot of what is conveyed is really visually, and it's cinematic. Look at the angle that they're doing this.
It's low showing up.
It's like one of these guys who's bending over, turned his head and looked up at T'Challa. That's brilliant. That's art.
Powerful.
That's artistry.
That's powerful.
To show people this is what it's like to look up at this man as he's strolling down, and making the person who's watching this also bow to T'Challa. That's art. That's art. That's storytelling. Look at this angle where you see how large this building is called the Citadel of Knowledge. This is Wakanda's like library.
Right.
Look at the guards, the palace guards in their outfits.
They're not looking at him. They are bowed in reverence to this man.
I love the sort of homage to the Jabari tribe with the fur. That was kind of cool. But also the mask. I mean, the detail, one of the things that's important about West African culture are masks. The masks are very symbolic of many things. And I love the fact that they incorporate that in these palace guards. When you think about a 21st century African mask, that's it. That's dope. That's storytelling. Shout out to Stefano Caselli, man.
Yeah.
That was some artistry.
And let me say this also. The way T'Challa looks, I don't know if you can just bring up an image of what he looks like in his face, his physique. This is a dude who you can tell is a physical specimen, right? Along with the fact that he's one of the top 10 most brilliant individuals on planet Earth, and he ain't 10, he's also one of the most gifted physical fighters on the earth. And when you look at him, what I see is a suave brother, right? That's something that was missing to me in the Coates run. The way that artist, no disrespect to that artist, because I can't draw the way that he draws, obviously. But I didn't like the way he looked. He looked old. He looked haggard. I understand that he was enslaved in a foreign universe, whatever. I get that. I understand that. But this is what I think of when I think of T'Challa. I think of somebody who has a regal bearing, who is someone who, when they walk in the room, all eyes are going to be on him. When you look at that brother with his tapered haircut or whatever, and his trimmed beard and that black and gold that he's wearing, all eyes are going to be on him. And that's something that I feel has been missing from the character for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And his dad, his dad seems like his dad seems like the type of dude who, like in the 60s, was running them. His dad looks like he had him running, just panties dropping every time Pops walked into the room. Look at it.
You also got to wonder, because what was not shown is who's his mother.
That
That's
is
interesting.
that's
Is that
true.
Ultimate doesn't have to follow what's in the 616. So
Right.
is Naomi his mother, or is Ramonda his mother in this universe?
For those who don't know, when you watch the Black Panther movie, Angela Bassett was not his biological mother. She was his stepmother. That
Well, in the
was the
comics, it's a stepmother. In the movie, they never said she was a stepmother. They just
right,
referred to it.
right. So, in the real world, his mother, T'Challa's mother, died not long after his birth or during birth. I don't remember.
Not long after his birth.
Not long after his birth. So Ramonda is the mother of Shuri, but not the mother of T'Challa. So, yeah.
This part is just one of my favorite parts. It's one that stood out to me. Was this line by Prince King T'Chaka, where you talk about your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Keep them
That's
close while you decide their fate. One should only know they are an enemy to the king after they have been destroyed. I'm
That
like,
is right.
what?
That's dope.
My man, Brian Edward Hill has bars. I mean, damn. He's like, I mean, that seems like something that you see from the Art of War. Some
Yeah.
Sun Tzu.
Right.
Killing it.
That was dope. That was dope.
To go back to what Mark was talking about with T'Challa. Yeah, I remember seeing a comment people were making, because we've been having these debates about Black Panther for the last couple of years, and you have the recast T'Challa people, and you got the people that are anti-recasters, and there's the sector of people that are like, oh, well, you guys just don't want women to shine. You just want a toxic male masculinity image. And, someone said a comment like, you guys that don't like the he who shall not be named run, don't like it because you don't like to see, all you want to see is a alpha male, a black alpha male. Right? And I'm like, yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
We live in a society where historically it was the standard operating procedure to emasculate the black male, to call us boy, to break up families, to imprison fathers. This is our history. We don't need to be emasculated further in our passions of comics. These are the stories that we enjoy, and we try to break away from reality with, to see a better world, to see a world that we would like to live in, to break away from the humdrum of our lives and have some escapism. So for many, T'Challa's that dude. He is the ultimate embodiment of what a black male would view himself as. Strong, proud, regal, noble. He's all the qualities that they never identify us with, that try to ingrain that we are not like, that try to socialize us to believe that's not what we are. And he is a reminder of what we were before our history was interrupted by Middle Passage. So, damn that. Let T'Challa stand tall. I love that shit. Fuck that. Yeah, I know it's supposed to curse, but I'll give it down. I'm excited. Anyway.
Go to the comments real quick.
Let me go to the comments real quick. Kenneth Gardner. I don't think there have been a definitive drawing of Black Panther like Jim Lee's drawing of Batman and Gary Frank's Superman.
Well, let me say this. Whoever the artist was during the Ridley run, personally, I like that version of T'Challa, right? I've gotten better.
Jermaine Peralta. He was a good artist.
Sure, what he said. Over the past couple of years, I've gotten better in learning artists and learning creatives and creators behind these works. But in my mind's eye, I see T'Challa walking on the beach with Storm after they were married during their honeymoon, with her all caked up or whatever. That's the T'Challa that I see in my mind's eye, right? Chadwick Boseman, God rest his soul, was in that same vein. Chadwick Boseman, I could see, in this version of the drawing of him. It's unfortunate he's no longer with us, but in my mind's eye, that's what T'Challa looks like. Not the version during the Coach run, and definitely not the version. Well, physically, the version during the Volume 8 run, that's T'Challa. Dr. Ewing, whoever the artist is on that run, yeah. There have been very few bad renderings of T'Challa in my humble opinion. Yeah.
You never liked Daniel Acuna, although I personally really enjoyed his version. Chillmonger said Scott Eaton. That was the artist on the Doom War books. I love that version. I think Scott Eaton's artwork is fantastic.
Yeah. And whoever does the art on most of the Avengers runs have always nailed T'Challa in a way that I enjoy.
And people have to be okay with that to be comics too.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that one. Anyway, so here's the next thing that I thought was interesting I want to talk about. This is a really dope thing. I think I even brought this up when we interviewed Eve Ewing and said I wanted this aspect to be brought up in her run. The introduction of sorceresses or mysticism, magic.
Yes.
Jungle Action had a little bit, arguably Jungle Action, if you really want to talk about defining Wakanda, it starts there. Jungle Action was the definitive, let's define what Wakanda is like. Run.
Shout out to
Don McGregor.
Hey! You owe me a Coke. Jinx.
Don McGregor had everything. He had savage land, dinosaurs, ancient prehistoric Wakanda, mystical Wakanda. It just the technological jungle Wakanda. He had everything in his run. Fantastic run. One of the things that is introduced in this book was the concept of the Vodou Khan, which is a group of witches, mystics, and their leader, this character here, Matron Imala. Now that made me think of something. This is like the third or fourth time we've seen the concept of witches in Wakanda. We've had mystics. We have Zawavari, who's been a big figure. But in terms of having a group of witches, this is like the third time that I recall seeing it. Here's some other times that I wonder if this is the ultimate version of this. We previously had the introduction of witches in this book. Let me pull this up. And of course, I can't find it when I'm in the live. Here we go. Wow, it just disappeared again. There it is. Spider-Man: The Lost Hunt, number 4. If you do not have this book, understand this is a low grade, low level key in Black Panther comic book collecting. There was an introduction of a character who you see in the background there, who was a former Wakandan witch. Let me go deeper than that and show you the interior.
While Paul is doing that, let me tell you, that character, you know what it reminded me of? That scene where the king had to go to the mystic. It reminded me of the scene in the movie 300, which was a brilliant movie, when Gerard Butler's Leonidas had to go see the E4s. And that's what that reminded me of, like a lot.
So this is a group of women called the Balu Aye. Um, it was a revered order of female mystics tasked with providing spiritual protection to Wakanda. They lived lives of prayer and meditation, mastering the ancient mysteries, and it was rumored that they were nearly immortal. Asase herself was said to be over 4 centuries old. And this is this group of women. Now, this comes up later on, again, with another group of Wakandan witches in another book that many of you have probably seen or collected.
That was in the Wakanda book.
Wakanda 4.
Yep. So
Notice,
basically,
they simply referred to them as the sisters. They didn't
Right.
really go into detail.
So basically, there's a portion of Wakanda that had never, ever been addressed before that was introduced in Spider-Man, and then also addressed further in the Wakanda limited series. That was what, 5 issues, 6 issues,
5 issues. This is issue
5
number
issues.
4.
Right. Was that the one with Killmonger on the cover?
No, this is the one that had Tosin on the cover.
Ah, gotcha.
But yeah, so we're seeing that again. We're seeing another version of these Wakandan witches. I think that deserves greater exploration. Let me go back to the chat. 1 in 100. Shout out to Amir. Steel Freeze Black Panther was amazing. It truly was. It truly was. SR. I have not read the book yet, but from the reactions, I hope these books lead to the comics leading the narrative for the MCU and not writers who are not allowed to read the comics.
Right.
Let me tell you, that's one of the things I posted in the Facebook group. Brian Edward Hill, given the fact that the Ultimate Comics, as Marc said, is what ultimately laid the foundation for the look of the MCU. I would hope that when Marvel reboots the MCU eventually with Secret Invasion or whatever you call it, Secret Wars, they use his script. Like, this script could be used to reboot the Black Panther franchise. Bo Big says Ken Lashley was good too. Shout out to Ken Lashley.
Wait, hold on, stop. Who is that, and where was that?
Who was what and what?
Ken Lashley. What?
Ken Lashley? Who's Ken Lashley?
Yeah,
he's the artist. Hold on a second.
What did he do? See, I've been doing better now recently, as I've said many times in this space, that whenever I would get a comic book, right, just pop it open, start reading, put it down, move on to the next one. Rarely, if ever, did I look to see who the writer was. Rarely, if ever, did I see who the artist was. So it's like watching a movie. How often when you watch a movie do you read the credits? So who the creators were behind comic books were the equivalent of the credits. But I've been doing better over the past year, maybe 2, in trying to determine who the writers, who the creators were behind these works. So the name Ken Lashley does not ring any bells for me, but for Paul, as an example, he knows who this guy is.
I know who this guy is, and the other artist that was mentioned by Amir, which is Brian Steelfreeze. I actually got to meet both of these guys last weekend at Orlando Art Expo, and I got Kenneth Lashley to sign this.
Oh, I have that.
Yes, you do.
That. Yep.
I know you don't know artists by names, but you know their work because you have the comics. This is the Shuri run of Black Panther. Ken Lashley did this cover. He also did art in this book.
I have that as well.
The Black Panther Annual, which is a must-have for Black Panther fans. If you look close and see here, he signed it and did a remark on it of another.
Oh,
Black
that's
Panther.
nice. That's cool.
Now, let me tell you the story behind this. I wasn't going to tell this to anybody, but let me tell you guys, because
you need to get that slab. That's cool.
Here's what happened. I go to Mr. Lash and say, here, you can sign this. And he signed this book, no problem. Then he went and he signed this book, no problem. And my stupid self, because I'm so giddy and excited, Ken Lashley signed my book, decide to slide the book inside this Mylar sleeve while because he signed it with an art pen, which is actual paint, and it made a smudge over the entire book. That was the original signature. As I was sliding it in, my boy Otis immediately goes, "No!" And he's leaping forward. It's like slow motion. I'm sliding it in, and I went, "Oh shit!" And then by that time, it had already been smudged. And I was like, "Oh, I can't believe I just did a rookie mistake. I can't believe I literally said, I can't believe I did a rookie mistake." Ken Lashley goes, "Oh man." He goes, "Give it to me." And then 5 minutes later, he produced this. Not even 5 minutes. It took him like 2 minutes to do this. So that was dope. That was dope.
Two things, Paul. Two things. Well, three things.
One last thing. The other artist that was mentioned was Brian Steelfreeze. This is Brian Steelfreeze. He signed this book here. Or here, I should say. He was the artist on the Coates run. He's also the one who did one of my favorite covers of all time, which is this.
That's cool. I have that.
He signed this here.
Right. Here. So 3 things. Number 1, you have something on your right shoulder, I'm assuming, right there?
Yeah, some paint. I don't know how that got on there.
Oh, okay. Number 2, you should slab.
This is everybody.
Right. You should slab that book that Lashley did for you.
Yeah.
Number 3, you need to put that in your will that if and when you die before
it will go to my daughter. Yes, I agree.
And it needs to go to me.
No, that's not going to happen. All right, so let's go through the other comments. I think people like and wear the Jungle Action 20 cover art. Yeah. Marc Tessier on Marvel Knights run. I like that. Was an excellent artwork. Mm-hmm. My wife actually got that signed, the #1 issue of that run, signed by Marc Tessier for me when I took her to her only con that she ever went to. Would you like to write? Who would like to see write Black Panther after e-viewing is done and do the art?
Jeff Thorne as the writer. I don't know about artists. Whoever's doing the art on this,
Stefano Caselli.
Yeah.
I could see this. I would be perfectly content with this current team taking over a regular Black Panther book.
Yep.
I liked this element because we now can really see the mystical world play a role in Wakanda as it should. I agree. That was a great example.
I don't remember.
The Oracles,
yes. And 300 and 300, yes. Mm-hmm.
Never knew about that Spider-Man issue.
Now you do. Go get it.
Ken Lashley is from my ends. It's from my ends too.
I don't know what that means.
He's Canadian. Ken Lashley's Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Lashley had some good covers. I've done that before too.
Probably with the smudging thing.
If a professional has done it, I don't feel so bad. In my Florida evidence, y'all are a hoot. All right, so let's get back to this book.
Right. Go to this page right here. Go to this page right here.
I'm getting to that. Let's go there. So yeah, I was just talking about Matron. All right, I already.
Right. We're past that.
We're past that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to that page.
Yep.
This page. Let me tell you something. When you go to this page, tell me you did not hear music from the Black Panther movie. That. All right.
So here's the thing. In the center, of course, you have the King T'Challa in his black and gold. To his right, our left on the screen is his sister Shuri. To our right, his left is his queen Okoye. Basically, what you have.
It looks good, by the way.
What you
it's
have.
The best Okoye I've ever seen.
What you have are the 2 dudes. I'm assuming they're siblings, or maybe not, who had at the beginning of the issue seen the individuals killing all those villagers.
The 2 spies.
And they're coming telling their king, this is what we saw, this is how. It is so powerful because you have the king surrounded by 2 women who he respects and will listen to, right? And, a lot of folks think that because we want T'Challa back, we are misogynists, we don't like women, blah, 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 which couldn't be further from the truth, obviously. We just want the main focus of this property back. And the main focus of this property is an individual who could very well be considered a feminist. Why else would he have his two main advisors be women, right? On the very next panel, the two spies are basically suggesting to the king what they should do. Now, let me say this. He's the king. He can say and do whatever it is that he wants. And I kind of took a little issue with how he addressed them, but it was kind of a boss move. Basically, what he said is like, look, you guys are spies. I will take information from you, but I will not take plans from you. Strategy. I will not take strategy from you. That's kind of an asshole move, but when you think about it, he is the ultimate monarch. And what a monarch says, what they say is law. And I do appreciate the fact. And those dudes were like, okay, yes, my king, we're out. We're bouncing. And that was very powerful.
I had no problems with it. I had no problems with it. The other thing that I thought was really important about this particular scene, let me show you here. Remember the cover I just showed you done by Ken Lashley?
Yeah.
Do y'all remember how Shuri was before the MCU?
She was horrible.
She wasn't horrible. She was dope. Shuri before the MCU was a hothead.
She was about that business. She was about
when
that
she
work.
was queen of Wakanda in this run. There's a scene where there's an issue where they're trying to decide whether to go to war with Atlantis. And T'Challa had already met with Namor. And Namor's like, look, dude, I know we got beef, we got history. You don't like me, I don't like you. But we got bigger problems. We got a whole incursion thing that's going to pop up in the Secret Wars movies. Planets are crashing. We got bigger fish to fry than our little petty squabbles between our two countries. You need to tell your sister to chill out because we got to solve some other problems. So T'Challa goes to Shuri, who's now queen, his queen. And he goes, sister and queen, I beseech you, let's not go to war right now. There are other diplomatic ways that we can do this. And, we're not really structured for a war right now. We've got things we got to deal with. I think we should try diplomacy. And he's talking to the entire council and Shuri. Shuri just sits there in the throne and goes, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, bump that. We going to war. That was Shuri. That was this Shuri. And she was still brilliant. She was still a brilliant scientist, but she was also about that life. And the Shuri that we have in this book is that same role. She's a scientist. She's the one that designs the weapons. But she's also the one that Dora Milaje look for to go to war when they need weapons to go to war.
And let me just interject this. They call her their woman of war, basically.
The woman of war.
Like
the war at arms or something like that.
Correct. So basically, if you think of the He-Man property.
I knew you were going to make that reference.
The He-Man property. And you think about Man at Arms, Shuri is the Wakandan Man at Arms, right? That's who she is. One of the things that I liked about this, Shuri is T'Challa's blood relative, right? She's sitting up here advocating for war, blah, blah, blah. I'm not married, never been married. But what I really appreciate is how Okoye, T'Challa's wife and queen, sat up here and was Tammy Wynette and stood by her man. Now, later on in a couple of panels later, she says, look, if I disagreed with you, I would have had a different response. But because I agreed with you, I'm standing with you lockstep, arm in arm. I really appreciated that. She's more than just eye candy. She's more than just someone who's there to fulfill a spot. She is someone who respects her husband and king and wants what's best for the nation of Wakanda. And I really, really appreciated that dialogue.
Yeah.
Yo, Brian Hill is that dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of brings to light the term know your role and play your position without
Yep.
it being pejorative,
Yeah.
because she recognizes my role is as queen, and I am to advise you in that capacity as well. I mean, I'm not
Yep.
just simply going to remain silent when I see you messing up.
Well, not necessarily messing up, but doing something that I don't think is in the best interest of Wakanda. Because
Right.
understand, as a former general, that's her role, that's her job to protect and defend Wakanda. And her husband now is the king, so she's going to support him in the defense of Wakanda and its people.
Right.
Yo. And as an aside, you see what he's wearing, that black and gold. It's just,
You go keep mentioning the black and gold.
yes, yes, I am.
Frustrated says not only that it's not too much narrative going on in the book. Yeah, I mean, this book was told in large part by the visuals, the story. You could take all the dialogue out and just look at the pictures. It tells the
Hmm.
story in and of itself. That's how you know
Hmm.
you've got a real artist on your hands. I think Okoye was forced to marry T'Challa so Shuri can run the door.
I don't know if she was forced to marry him,
But
but
Shuri's
if
not
you,
running the door. Shuri is the man at arms, and she's like their
she's a member
weapons.
of the Dora, right? But here's the thing: when you think about when the Dora was first introduced, that was during the priest run. They were always supposed to be his wives in waiting, and so with him choosing the former general, he wants somebody who is strong, who's independent, someone who wants to defend this nation. He wasn't forced to do that. He did that from a political perspective, say, look, I want to secure my power as king and as the defender of Wakanda. And this is the best person for me to do that.
And not to mention, we have a leader of the Dora. It's right here. This new character, first appearance, Abene. She is now the leader of the Dora. This is a brand new character that Brian Edward Hill created for this book. And stunning look.
You know who she reminds me of? She reminds me of the Avatar with that bald head.
I,
That
I tell you
stuff.
what, you know, Brian Edward Hill, from what I understand, is a big fan of Dune, the books by Frank Herbert. You're getting a lot of Dune vibes in this. That Vondu Khan, um, Matron Amala, that reminds me of the Bene Gesserit, right? Somebody on, I forget who his name was. I sorry if you watch this, I apologize. I forget his name, but he mentioned that on Twitter and made me think. I think he's absolutely right. Um, I think there's a lot of influence from the Dune books in this, and if that's the case, if he's going to follow that, that means somebody in T'Challa's inner circle may be not who they appear to be. So that would be kind of interesting. So that's two first appearances we have in this book. We have Matron Amala and we have Abene. Those are two
Yeah.
new characters that never existed before.
Yep.
Let's see. And then finally, what we have to end our review of this book on is this scene right here. I think one panel basically summarizes it all. The introduction of Killmonger and Storm.
So here's the thing. In the As we all know, in the Marvel 616, I think probably Killmonger is dead at this point in 616, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So in
He's
the
been killed
Ultimate
three
Universe,
times.
right, he's like a bad penny, but he keeps turning up. In this Ultimate run, Eric Killmonger is together with Aurora Monroe, aka Storm. And when I say together, they are partners, lovers, companions to each other. And it was, seeing them like that, although I don't like seeing Storm with anybody other than T'Challa,
Agreed.
This kind of was kind of cool. This was cool to me.
And what was cool also is the fact that this picture is all you see of her. That's a dramatic entrance. This is cinematic. Again, this is a movie that's in a comic book. And I'm here for it. You never even got to see Storm introduced in this book. This is all you see.
Yeah. But you see her on the cover of one of the variant covers or whatever. Can you pull that back up real quick?
Oh, I already closed that.
But yeah. So you don't hear her, you don't see any dialogue from her. You don't have her expounding on anything. All you have is Eric Killmonger basically trying to defend Wakandans. We don't know about his history. We don't know whether or not he's a long lost cousin of T'Challa. All we know is that Eric Killmonger is someone who wants to protect Wakandans against this incursion of outsiders. So, that union kind of makes sense. And I'm interested to see how Brian Hill makes it so those two met each other. Whether or not mutants are, how all that came about. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
This book was very, very good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give the Ultimate Black Panther about a 36, maybe a 37.
I had no criticisms of this book.
Negative criticisms.
I had no criticisms.
It was good. This book was good.
Yeah, I mean, my only criticism would be I'm pissed it's only going to be 5 issues. I'm pissed it's only going to be a 5 issue. I pray that it sells well enough that Marvel's like, all right, go ahead and take over the real book.
Right. That's, like you mentioned a moment ago with the Marvel Knights version priest run of Black Panther, it did so well that they continued it. Yeah. Well, if you guys keep going out and buying this book and pre-ordering it, maybe they will. So here's the thing. A lot of you folks may not normally be...
On that point, remember what Marc said about the original Ultimates books. Those ran for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
They ran for like a good 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's possible that if this book sells well, it'll be an ongoing series for a while.
Like Ultimate X-Men got 100 issues. Yeah. Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Ultimate Spider-Man ran forever.
Yeah, and it had a volume 2 of that. So let me say this. There are a lot of folks, especially people who I know, who are not normally comic book readers, comic book fans, or whatever.
This is a good point.
If you are enjoying this type of content with us talking and, anticipating what's there, find a comic book store that's in your area. Say, hey, my name is, Jamil Clark. I want to get this particular book. Put me down, and every month you go in, you buy the book, and that adds to the total of this particular character. We want T'Challa to come back. We want T'Challa to be long lasting, and you guys are the ones who decide whether or not he will or not. So,
yeah, get a subscription or get a pre-order at your local comic store. I like Frustrated Fans' point here. This book is also liked by our white counterparts, which is a struggle to get their attention on Black books. You know what? This whole comics being stolen, lost, burned, whatever, did a lot for this book. This book was all over the internet for the last 3 days.
Yeah.
That gave a big boost to this book. It's now being sought by the others, not us. And not to mention, when they actually read the book that they buy because of spec,
it's good.
They're praising it. They're going, damn, this is a good book.
The story is good. It's very well done. And one of the things that
you got a hot artist on it.
One of the things that we as T'Challa fans have been missing is the fact that T'Challa is the king. He is in control. He is someone who we as fans of the character want to see. We want to see him on the throne. We want to see him in control. And that's something that has been missing, especially during the Volume 8 run. You know, we like that alpha male energy that he exudes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, this person's asking the question, is this a limited run? This run is, I believe, only 5 issues. Let me look in Comic Geek. See, I only see 4 issues. I only see 4 issues in Comic Geek. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, you know, this lasts a very long time.
Oh, and this part got released today. Let me show this. In terms of the final issue of this run, you know what happens?
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
It's on the cover.
Okay, I haven't seen that before. Oh, yeah, I did see somebody mention that earlier.
Shuri's taking the throne.
Supposedly. So, you
Says
know,
it.
I
Shuri
get it.
seizes the throne. With T'Challa missing and presumed dead, Wakanda needs a new leader. Shuri wants war against Ra and Khonshu more than T'Challa ever did, but at what cost? Meanwhile, Black Panther must learn from his new allies, the freedom fighters Killmonger and Storm.
So we'll see. So don't go any more than that. We'll see. I'm really looking forward to this book. Brian Hill is doing his thing. This is, listen,
Yes,
I don't want, it's really good. So if you don't have an issue, if you don't have a copy, let me highly encourage you to find a comic book store near you. See if they have any. If you don't have it, if they don't have number 1, get put on the list for the reissue of number 1 and for number 2s to keep this book going. You want to do a commercial?
We're going to do a commercial on what we keep hitting home, and we're going to keep hitting home until you guys do.
Comics are different. Those things cannot be returned if they do not sell. Okay, so that means that if they buy 10 copies of Monica Rambeau Photon and nobody buys it, they eat that money. And your local comic shop is, the margins are very thin, right? Times are hard for everybody. And so what that means is that it gives comic shop owners incentive to be very risk averse, right? And so you could order a bunch of Batman and you know that every month people are going to come in and buy Batman. It's often characters of color, new characters, lesser known characters where they're like, I don't know, this could be good, but if I put this on my shelves and people don't buy it, I lose money. And I'm sympathetic to that. That's a real assessment that they have to make. So the way that we avoid that is you go in and you pre-order. So Paul goes in 3 months before the comic set comes out and says, hello, I would like to pre-order Monica Rambeau Photon number 1. I'm not going to wait till it comes out. I'm telling you now that I want it. And at that point, they're like, okay, let me go ahead and order this. And in the comics world, that is the sale that counts. By the time you come into a store and purchase a comic book, that sale does not count. I know it is ridiculous. It is very silly. That is the way it is. The sale that counts is when the store orders it from the distributor. That is what they are counting. And so what that means is that when you go in and you pre-order things, it actually gives that store confidence. Like, okay, Paul said Paul's going to be back and spend his $5 on this book. So we're good. If we order this one, we know it's going to sell and we can pay our rent. We're not going to be eating this cost this month. The best thing to do is your subscription or your pull list where you go in and you say, I want you to put these in every month for me, right? And then they will set that aside in a box.
Message.
Dear Mr. Billy Graham, I know this letter is late, but you know what they say, better late than never. And I'm writing to you because I know you'll never read this or hear this. It's a measure of therapy for me, I guess. Wondering how you never get mentioned when you are really only one of the few worth mentioning. After all, I don't think Sam and Dave had you in mind, but without question, you are a soul man. How else can you explain how a man can draw tears so well if he never shed any tears of his own? Yes, And I hear music, especially drums, when I see jungle action panels. And when I see Luke Cage panels, I hear the jukebox blaring out horns in the after hours joint. I guess I'm trying to say, Mr. Graham, that I dig your style, and you deserve to be celebrated like the heroes you drew. And like I said, you won't see or hear this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Thank you, Mr. Billy Graham. You are a Black history legend. Respectfully, the Black Comic Lords. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, peace.
All right. Hope everyone got to use the bathroom, get a drink, snack on a little something, something. Time to continue with the show. But before we get to that, let's check out what have said in the chat. Have my copy and pull. We'll get to the shop ASAP. Cool.
They probably sold it already, dude.
Jeffrey Thorne in the building.
Hey, Brother Thorne, what's going on? We are live right now, live in the color.
Killmonger told him it's an ad. It's a comeback today. Jeffrey says, I wonder what you are talking about tonight. Man, you know what
Come on now. You already know. Come on now. Brother Thorne, you already know. This is all what the Twitters and people have been talking about who are comic book fans.
I'm so hyped up on Black Panther right now, Mr. Thorne. I think when we're done with this, I might go watch Avengers T'Challa. What was it called? Black Panther's Quest? Black Panther's Quest.
But wait, what?
The Avengers. Assemble, season 5.
Avengers, the animated. Yes. That's a good point. Yes. When was the last time you watched the first Black Panther movie?
It's been a few months.
Yeah, months. It's been a couple of years for me.
Yeah, it's been a few months. I randomly started watching it for some reason. You know, scrolling through my Disney Plus channels. All right, so let's get to our other comics of the week. What did you want to talk about?
Book number 2, Conan.
Conan.
Now, I understand that this may not be a book that you as Black comic book readers may gravitate towards. I get that. I understand that. Number one.
No. Understand. No, let me explain something. There are 2 things that we focus on, maybe 3, in Black Comic Lords. We focus on Black characters. We focus on Black books, which is kind of the same thing as Black characters. And we focus on Black creators, regardless of what they're doing. Because we want Black creators to be able to express themselves in the industry. And
that's the point that I was getting at. So I am a huge sword and sorcery type dude, right? Back in the 70s when Jason and the Argonauts and what's the creators? Winston was creating his worlds and things of that nature. And more recently, you had Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and things of that nature.
Sword and Sandals.
I love that type of stuff. Troy with Brad Pitt, whose daughter goes to Spelman. I love that type of stuff. I was already reading Conan the Barbarian, and as I've said many times in this space, I don't pay attention to the credits. However, I have been doing a very, very good job for me over the past years paying attention to who the creators are. The writer of the book is a gentleman by the name of Jim Zub, right? But the illustrator on this book is a dude by the name of Doug Braithwaite, right? Doug Braithwaite is a brother. He is an English brother.
In fact, the last thing I saw him do was stuff for Milestone.
Right. Doug Braithwaite.
the Icon and Rocket series,
He
and
also,
this milestone 30th anniversary cover.
Doug Braith. Oops, let me go to the. If as I'm looking this up, if you are a comic book collector, and Paul's gonna laugh because he's the one who told me about it. Yes, you get credit. CLZ Comics, right, is an app that allows you to catalog whatever your collection is. And you can look up different things. You can look up titles, you can look up creators, right? So I'm looking up Doug Braithwaite as an example. And I have a lot of stuff of his that I did not realize was his. I have Captain America Volume 3, Icon and Rocket he did. He did Journey into Mystery, which was Thor book, Secret
I didn't know
Invasion.
Christopher Priest did Conan. Now I looked that up.
Right. He did one of Paul's favorite characters is Wolverine Origins. He did the art on several issues of Wolverine Origins. So I say all that to say we as Black folks and Black creators, there are a lot of those out there who are not just on Black books. Can you pull up the picture of Doug Braithwaite so people can see who he is? Um,
Yeah. One second.
Doug Braithwaite is the artist on this Conan the Barbarian. Now, just because he's Black doesn't mean that we would necessarily recommend the book just because he's Black. I read Conan because my comic book folks over at Titan Comics in Smyrna, Georgia, recommended this book. Been reading it. We're on issue number 7. I have been reading it since issue number 1, not knowing anything about Doug Braithwaite. But this is a very, very good story. And oh, by the way, a brother is doing the art on it. If you like sword and sandal type stuff, if you like the whole, lack of superpowers, this is the type of book for you. If you like the first Conan movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is a book that you will definitely enjoy. I've been reading
What
it
issue
since
is
day.
that?
I'm sorry.
7. Right? What's the issue you're looking at?
We are on issue number 7. I have been reading it from the very beginning because again, my comic book guy recommended it to me. Very, very good. Doug Braithwaite is a phenomenal, phenomenal artist. Paul is about to bring.
This is Douglas Braithwaite.
That's Doug Braithwaite. This is some of the
Here's some of the
art.
books he's worked on.
Right.
He's worked on Justice. I didn't know that. He worked on Justice. Universe X. He's worked on Paradise X. As Mark mentioned before, Wolverine Origins. I used to have a big Wolverine collection. Here's a bunch of other books he's done.
So the brother has been around for a while. And even though he's a Brit, he's doing his thing.
Marvel, DC, and Independence. He's got a full resume.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and pull me up big, if you would, please, so I can show folks these. Oh, go down. I thought I saw Bronze Tiger on something. No, that was Dread Rules. Okay, sorry.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot of stuff. Oh, the Batman Second Son. I forgot he did that.
Mm-hmm.
The Milestones in History. Motormouth. God, I'm one of the 3 people on the planet that own this comic.
Yeah. So this is the brother who has been around for a while. So go ahead and pull me up big so I can show people some of this art from this book. This dude is doing some spectacular work on this book. And oh, by the way, the story is very, very, very good. Highly recommend
this particular story arc, because he's not the regular artist. He's just doing this story arc. This story arc, I believe, began with issue
5.
Yeah, I think it was 5. I think it's from what I saw on Comic Geek. It's 5 through 8.
Yeah.
So you have issue 7. He's got one more issue after that. So 5, 6, 7, 8. is that storyline by Doug Braithwaite.
So here's the thing, and looking at my CLZ comic app, he has done the art on issues 3, 6, and 7. So the last 2 issues he's done the art on. But the story is good and the brother's working on it. So do recommend Conan.
All right. So what's our next recommend? Mace Windu. You ain't saying nothing when you talk about Star Wars with me.
We already talked about the brother Samuel L. Jackson, who went to what college? Morehouse. Mace Windu is one of the first Black Jedi that we see, if memory serves.
He's the first Black Jedi.
Yeah, I don't have that copy, that version.
This
I have
is
issue
the
A.
1 in 25 variant by one of my favorite cover artists, Mr. Torrin Clark, who I have said is going to be the #1 comic book cover artist in the world. Yes, I said it, taking Alex Ross's spot. The guy's that prolific.
Alex Ross is that dude.
He is, but Torrin Clark is right up there with him, in my opinion. I like this cover also because it's the first cover appearance of a first appearance that's in this book.
Mm-hmm.
This character, this woman right here, her name is Azita Cruz.
I thought it was Sheila.
No, that's old Sheila by New Edition. No,
my bad.
No.
Wait, hold on. Ready for the world.
Ready for the world.
Sheila.
Ready for the world.
Ready for the world. Get it right. Come on now.
My bad. This is Azita Cruz. She is a brand new character, bit of a rogue, and Mace Windu is tasked with tracking her down because she has an object that, if fallen into the wrong hands, could be dangerous to the galaxy. And she's trying to sell it to the highest bidder.
Not too much spoilers.
No, that's the basic plot. I didn't go into spoilers. So I just love seeing 2 Black people on a friggin' Star Wars cover.
The book was good. So let's talk about who. Not only do you have a Black character in Mace Windu, who was played live action by Sam Jackson, who went to Morehouse College, you have the writer, who is Marc Bernardin.
This is Torrin Clark, the cover artist.
Okay. You have the writer, Marc Bernardin, and the main artist
here.
And you have the main artist, who is Georges Gianti.
Georges Gianti, who most recently was the artist on another Star Wars book, The Mandalorian, with Rodney Barnes. He's the artist on both of those volumes.
Right. The story,
Oh, and he's the artist on the upcoming Ahsoka book with Rodney Barnes. It's coming out. That was just announced last week.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. So based on
that's why we're at my comic book.
So based on that, I will now be trying to pre-order the Ahsoka book.
His other claims to fame is Bishop. He did this Bishop series. And where I first saw him, oddly enough, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
My ex-girlfriend liked Buffy, and I was gonna buy her some Buffy books, but I broke up with her before I did. But yes,
so now she's dead to you.
Yep. But that aside, the Mace Windu book, I enjoyed, without going into any spoilers, I enjoyed this Mace Windu book. Paul got me into Star Wars. What was the last thing that you were reading that was Star Wars related? New Republic. What was it?
The High Republic.
High Republic. So I bailed on the High Republic after like 8 issues. Wasn't really feeling it personally, right? This book hopefully will continue on the same path that I'm actually enjoying. Not only is the art good, the story is good, and I'm interested to see what happens next. So I'm enjoying this Mace Windu book, so I do recommend that you guys pick it up.
Wow. Frustrated Fan says, I must be one of the three as well, as I got the Motormouth books. He also worked on Death's Head and a lot of those UK Marvel books. Man, I collected all those UK Marvel books, man. That was in the 90s when comics were just exploding all over the place.
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. It was, man, you're already collecting Social Security retirement. I thought it was a good read, especially for a prequel series. Jeffrey Thorne, we never saw a body. Mace Windu lives.
You know what?
I'm telling you.
Here's the thing. I've heard, yes, right. So basically, in whatever the Star Wars movie was, where
Right.
Mace
Jedi
Windu,
fall from high places all the time.
listen, whatever that movie was, and I can't remember the sequels, trilogies, whatever. But Mace Windu gets his arms or hands cut off by Anakin
One hand,
Skywalker before he
just
turns
one.
to the dark side. Supposedly, there is a story where, like Brother Thorne said, Mace Windu lives and has like bionic arms. Because remember, Luke Skywalker had his arm cut off, right? And he now has a prosthetic mechanical arm. So there's nothing to say that Mace Windu does not now exist in this universe of Star Wars with prosthetic limbs. So, you know.
That'll be
But-
in the new series that coming out, that Mandalorian movie.
But this book is a good book, and I do recommend folks pick it up.
Yes, he also did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's the first place I saw him.
Yeah.
UK Marvel, man. If you don't know about UK Marvel, you better ask somebody. Or a great power reference with no spoiler. All right. Was that all our books for the week?
Yeah, I mean, so this week was a light week for Black books, so to speak. You know, we had Ultimate Black Panther, we had Mace Windu, and we also had Conan. There was nothing else that I had that was Black centric.
There were other books that came out.
Oh, real quick, while Paul's thinking about whatever he's thinking about, last week he mentioned the Moon Man book by Kid Cudi. That's written by Kid Cudi.
It's a good book.
I've been I when I went to the comic book store this week, my comic book store was completely out of it. I called another comic book store here in Metro Atlanta. They didn't have it. So that Moon Man book may be something that you guys really, really want to try to find, because you know it's out at least 2 Metro Atlanta stores. So you guys may want to try to find that book. Kid Cudi is a rapper. He's also an actor. He's now a comic book creator. So, you know, if you can find Moon Man, I would encourage you guys to try to find it. You know, and I've added it to my. Oh, I want that cover. That cover is very
the Silver Surfer homage.
That cover right there is really reminiscent of Jack Kirby. So yeah. So add Moon Man to your pull list.
There's also this one by Sanford Green of Bitterroot fame.
Oh yeah, get there.
I love this one because you've got these protesters, angry people, stuff here, just discord on Earth, and then you've got this astronaut who's looking towards the stars, rising above the discord that's on Earth. I love artistry. I love art that tells a story without a single word on the page, and that's what this cover does. This is brilliant work by Sanford Green. I love stuff like that.
Yeah. So those are the 3 books that we wanted to review.
Just to talk about the other books, because immediately people are going to be like, "Oh, that's all the books. You tell all other books. Why don't you look at this book?" Before we go there,
What are some of the comments?
Before we go there, yes, there are other books that came out of note this week. We've got Antarctica, Avengers 10, Kaya. Wait, Red Hood, the Hill number 0 came out? It did? Oh, let's go check it out.
So wait, go back to Red Hood. Why is that significant to this space?
It's done by Sean Martinborough, who I interviewed a few weeks ago. Cool brother who does both. He's an artist and a writer, and he wrote this. This particular cover is by Sanford Green, again, who I mentioned. Takes place in a part of Gotham. It's kind of like the poor, destitute, black section of Gotham. Group of vigilantes, including this woman who's on the cover here.
So the Hood.
The Hood. Robotech by Brandon. I always get the two Brandons mixed up. Brandon Easton or Brandon Thomas. I always get those two Brandons mixed up. Space Between. This book, man, I just have it listed because someone's going to mention it. But Space Negro, The Last Negro. How did a book like this get made? How did a book
What
like
company
this,
is that?
This is, what does it say? I don't know. I don't know the company, but this has got Homeboys from Outer Space written all over it.
For those who don't know, Homeboys from Outer Space was a 1990s television series that starred Ronald Bell, I think that's his name.
From
Actually,
a different world.
From Ron from a different world, light-skinned brother from a different world, who's married, if I'm not mistaken, to Tempest Bledsoe, aka Vanessa from the Cosby
Huxtable,
Show.
yeah.
Yeah. Like they've been together since Clinton was in office. Like literally.
Married kids.
Yeah. What company is that?
First Comics.
I've never heard of that before in my life.
The solicit says 1,000,000 years in the future and a brother still can't catch a break. In a future devoid of black people, Supernova Watkins. Oh man, you wrote this book?
That's my cousin. That's my cousin. I knew I recognized that cat. That's my cousin.
Supernova Watkins learns the hard way that he is alone in the universe with no friends, no family, no support, and most importantly, no hair care product. Space Negro, The Last Negro, is a biting and subversive take on modern race relations as could only be told by comedy writer-artist Jared Sams. The Space Negro preview book has been the best-selling show comic in first 41 years.
Okay, so now I have to find that. So when did it come out?
It came out this week.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that, so now I have to find it because that's my cousin.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
These are all the covers for Mace Windu.
So how many of those did you get?
I think I have this one with Yoda on it. I have it here somewhere. I think I ordered the first one. I don't remember if I ordered the Torrin Clark one or not. And that's the one I really want because it's got the first cover appearance of this character.
Yeah, no, I don't.
That's the one I want.
Okay.
I have not read the Thanos book with Blue Marvel in it yet.
I have it. I read it.
Is it any good? No?
I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh my God.
Thanos is your dude.
Here's the thing. For those who don't know, I have my top 5 comic book characters are in order: Black Panther, Thor, Thanos, Deathstroke, Blue Marvel. This Thanos book is okay. I'm not going to sit up here and say it's spectacular. The story, it's okay. Blue Marvel makes an appearance in it. It's not something that you need to sit up here and rush out to get. That's just my opinion.
So he doesn't really have a big role in it.
Not at all.
Wow. What a waste of that character. I get mad at Marvel every time Blue Marvel is mentioned.
Because he's not utilized to the fullest extent.
He's one of the greatest creations ever made at Marvel. Pause. Period. Say again. One of the greatest creations ever made at Marvel. And he's not used at all. Not even as a background character on a regular series. That's just disrespectful and intentional.
Who created
Kevin
Blue Marvel?
Grievous? Your
Who was that? Say that name again.
Kevin Grievous.
And Kevin Grievous is a member of what? Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
You're gonna be black and gold all night, aren't you?
Yes, yes, I am.
Good Lord. It's like a cult. This is another dope cover on Mace Windu done by, again,
Oh, that's
Ken
cool.
Lashley.
I've not seen that before.
This is the one by Ken Lashley.
That's really cool. So the Mace Windu series, issue number 1 is good. I enjoy issue number 1, so I do recommend that. So what do we got next?
I think that's all the books we have.
That's all the books, yeah. Did you get my email?
Oh, yes. We have this other subject to talk about. All right, fine. Let's talk about this. So in breaking news, I would do the breaking news thing that we have, but again, Derek, if you're watching, I'm tired of you hiding everything, but eventually I find it.
This is a Black Comic Lords exclusive.
So in breaking news, Blade has been reportedly delayed with rewrites and production issues.
So let me say this. Prior to the 1997-1998 movie that starred Wesley Snipes, I probably had never heard of Blade. I definitely didn't give an F about him. I still don't necessarily give an F about the character of Blade. Wesley Snipes made him cool. Movies 1 and 2 were phenomenal. 3, not so much. But when Mahershala Ali, at this point, 5 years ago, Mahershala Ali was announced as the new Blade. Blade has been portrayed live action by Wesley Snipes, Sticky Fingers of the rap group Onyx, and now supposedly Mahershala Ali. The movie allegedly has been delayed. Personally, I don't care. Mahershala is a great actor. Let me say that. Mahershala Ali, for those who don't know, Mahershala Ali is not his birth name, given name. He was a D1 basketball athlete. He changed his name when he converted to Islam. I do not remember what his birth name was, but that aside, I do not feel that he was the appropriate actor to play this role based on age. Typically, as a comic book fan, as a movie fan, I typically want actors to be in their at least early 30s, mid 30s to play these roles. Mahershala is damn near 50. Now, although we know that black don't crack, I think that he was miscast in this role definitely because of age. If this movie is in fact delayed, he should not be that character. You know, by the time it comes out, if and when it does in 25, 26, he'll be over 50. Why do we want to sit up here and watch that? Get somebody younger to play this character. He can be a producer. He, you know, obviously he's invested in this because he has certain ideas of what should happen, but he should take a step back, let somebody else play the role and be a producer on the film. So that's my thoughts on it.
I agree. I don't even care about the book at this, the movie at this point.
I have no.
And then hearing the direction that they're trying to really, really push hard, introducing Bloodline, which is a dope character.
Yeah.
But you're reinventing Blade for the MCU, the formal MCU. I get it, the Blade movie got Marvel Studios started, what have you. I get the argument. But this is Blade's introduction, formal introduction to the MCU. Why are you going to bring his daughter in too? One of the things the article mentions is the fact that one of the rewrites that got rejected was the fact that they were going to make him basically a fourth character. They're going to introduce a group of women led by Bloodline as the real sort of story. And he's going to be more of a background character. It's absurd. Mahershala's like, I didn't sign up for that.
Right.
How do you go from being the title star to being a background to a bunch of teenage girls?
They didn't do that for Thor. They didn't do that for Doctor Strange. They didn't do that for Captain America.
What did
They
we
didn't
talk
do
about
that for any of the other
earlier?
characters.
About the emasculation of the black man. That's crazy, man. Why would you? And that's a perfectly good concept to introduce other characters in the Blade universe. But after Blade comes out,
Blade 2.
I mean, it's like doing a Black Panther movie, and then Black Panther's not in this. I don't want to talk about it. MCU just be messed.
What? Black Panther not being in the second movie? What were you about to say?
Yeah, I don't want to touch it.
Okay.
I'll get upset again.
Sure.
Just going through the comics, I apologize to everyone. I missed a bunch of comments as I was talking to y'all. Jeffrey Thorne mentions that the hill in Gotham actually started in Orpheus, which was, for those of you who don't know, Orpheus, Black Orpheus, was a character introduced, a DC original character. What's cool about this character? In fact, let me pull up that comic book. It's Batman. I don't know the name off the top of my head. I thought it was Black Orpheus, but Orpheus Rising. That's what it's called. This was now what's cool about this comic? This character, Black Orpheus, it introduced the concept of the Hill of Gotham being basically this black section of Gotham that Batman never patrolled. Like, he shows up in another book that's written by Sean Martin World called The Hill, Batman the Hill, and he's like, I'm Batman, and expecting people to be afraid of him. They're like, dude, you never come out here. We don't care about you. That's literally the reaction. A lot of these DC heroes just kind of ignore certain sections of these cities. Orpheus has the distinction, these two creators, Simmons and Turner, two black creators, writer and artist, created an original black character. I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this is the first original black character created by two black creators at DC Comics.
Who created Signal?
Milestone.
What? Hold
DC
on.
Comics.
Who created Signal?
Who?
Who created Signal?
Scott Snyder, I think.
When did this book come out?
This came out in 2001.
Okay, I've never heard of that book before in my life.
A lot of people haven't. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yep, of course.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Let's see. Wild title. Killmonger says they waste Blue Marvel. It's a touchy subject for me. Jeffrey Thorne says try to pitch Blue Marvel. They weren't hearing it. Oh, man. Every time Jeffrey Thorne tells me that, I just get angry.
Yeah, it pisses you off.
It just pisses me off. Pericles, Dragon Balls. The best thing about Blade Trinity was RZA's track on the soundtrack. Oh God, I don't think I literally don't think I've seen that movie more than once.
You know what? It's funny. So here's the thing. Here's what's crazy. The fact that you said that, I was just thinking that, like, I don't remember that I've seen that movie more than once. And that's the one with Ryan Reynolds. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love
Ryan
Wesley
Reynolds.
Snipes.
But I hated that movie.
I love Wesley Snipes, but yeah, I don't think I've seen that one more than
because
once.
And honestly, that's a good point. Blade Trinity is notorious for having Wesley Snipes be disruptive on a set. And the reason, and he's done interviews, he's like, the reason I was disruptive, as they phrased it, on the set is because they told me that they were trying to make this a Ryan Reynolds and what's her face? The woman who's playing Whistler's daughter.
There was a woman in that movie. Like whenever that movie came out, I haven't seen that movie
The
since
white
it
woman.
came out.
Oh God, why can't I'm looking at her face and I
Taylor
can't.
Swift.
No, she was in the movie Stealth with Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx. Oh, Biel. Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel, is that her name?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go with Jessica Biel. Whatever.
Yeah.
So this was supposed to be a property to propel them to basically take over the franchise. And Wesley Snipes is like, I'm the star of the movie. The movie's called Blade. Why are you trying to make this about them when it's supposed to be about me? And that's why he was like, F this movie. I ain't going to do nothing. Which led to the infamous scene where Blade was supposed to be asleep or dead or whatever. And they had to digitally draw his eyes open because Wesley Snipes refused to open his eyes.
Yep.
But again, that's kind of like what's going on with this new Blade movie. They're trying to replace Mahershala Ali with other characters.
Well, they're trying to include they're trying to include other characters besides Blade. And if
it wasn't include. No, the script, the article said that they were trying to make those other characters, particularly his daughter, the main characters of the movie. And he's like, he hasn't even been introduced yet. How do you place him? He's not even been introduced.
Other than a voiceover at the end of Eternals, which was a horrible movie. Yes, I said it. Eternals was a horrible movie. It was bad. It was boring.
What's up?
As someone who has been a longtime fan of the Eternals, who has every issue of Eternals book, it was a bad movie. So,
Orpheus was created by writer Alex Simmons, who also created action hero Blackjack. I did not know that. Simmons owns Orpheus, which is why we don't see him in DC. I didn't know that either. So the creator of Orpheus, Alex Simmons, owns the character, which is why we've never seen it. And he got killed off in the comics.
Alex Simmons is a brother?
Yeah.
Can you pull up a picture of him?
Jeez, you always ask me these things on the fly. You know it takes work.
Yeah, Google. God, it's so hard.
Pain in the ass.
It's so hard. I'm sorry. Oops. Yeah, smoke.
He looks as old as us now. Here's Alex Simmons.
Damn.
Here's some of the books he's known for. Arachna, Orpheus, obviously. He did some Archie books, some Scooby-Doo books.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's full resume. Here's Blackjack.
I've never heard of that character before in my life.
Dope indie character. Gosh, Hawk and Falcon. I've never heard of this book.
Neither have I. When did it come out?
Came out in 2003, and it says to present, like it's an ongoing series. How's that an ongoing series? I've never seen that before in my life.
Right.
So yeah, he's put in work. He's been around for a while.
Since
at least the 80s, it looks like.
Something that we have not touched on, and I forgot to mention when I emailed you, Carl Weathers. And this is taking it a completely different direction.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Carl Weathers. For those of you who don't know, I don't understand how you wouldn't know this, but Carl Weathers was an actor extraordinaire. He was an individual who most of us
he doesn't own Orpheus.
Okay. For a lot of folks, he was Apollo Creed. He was a football player who played for the Oakland Raiders, I want to say. Then he left professional athletics, and then he was an actor who was Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. He notoriously died in Rocky IV, what in Rocky 4
4.
with what's my boy's name?
Dolph Lundgren?
Dolph Lundgren, who played what's the character he played?
Drago.
Ivan Drago, right. And that's the son. Michael B. Jordan plays his son. For a more recent audience, he played in Star Wars as what's the character he played?
Oh
Moff.
jeez. Kev. Oh jeez.
I can't remember his name.
Oh wow.
I can't remember the character's name because I've had like 7 of these.
Yeah, it's starting.
right.
Man.
Yeah.
So let me give a shout out to Bo Biggs for the super chat, $5.
Yeah, shout out
Thank
to
you
Bo
very
Biggs.
much. And also, if you're watching it, you enjoy the show, you enjoy the channel, please like the video. I mean, just take a second right now, like the video. If you're not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell next to the subscription channel, because that allows you to see these videos and be notified when we do these shows again. It costs you nothing, and it really helps us out tremendously with the algorithm with Google.
Right.
Grieve Karga. Thank you, Chillmark.
Thank you, Grieve Karga. If you've watched The Mandalorian, you will know that Carl Weathers appeared over the past 2 or 3 years as Grieve Karga in The Mandalorian. Carl Weathers was that dude. And, being this side of 50 that I am, he wasn't that old. He was only 76 years old. Even though for a lot of you guys that may seem like it's old, but it's not ancient. It's not like he was 93. So shout out to his family. Shout out to his friends. For those who worked with him, RIP to Carl Weathers. Some folks may know him from Happy Gilmore with Adam Sandler.
The original Predator movie, man.
Right.
But the big one was Action Jackson.
Here's what's crazy. You say that. So for me, Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed.
Yes,
right?
obviously.
And then of course he was in the Predator movie, which came out in 1989. I don't remember when it was. But he was that guy who got Arnold Schwarzenegger and his team into the wilds of South America, where they were hunted down, blah, blah, blah. Action Jackson came out in 1990. I had never seen that movie until 3 nights ago. I had never.
Get out of here.
Shut up.
Shut your mouth. I don't even know you after 30 years.
Your mouth. I had never watched that movie.
Oh my God.
Understand, when that movie came out in
How
1990.
have you never seen Action Jackson, dude?
I will explain it to you.
You
ready?
Have lost so many cool points with me right now.
I will explain it to you. Are you ready?
I'm embarrassed that I know you right now.
No. You ready? I'll explain it to you. In 1990, I was serving this country in the Philippines.
That's not an excuse. They have movies in the
It is an excuse. I will explain it to you. In 1990, God damn, Predator came out in 1987.
Yep, and Action Jackson came out in 1988.
1988. I don't even know if I was born yet. But in 1990, in 1980, that can't be right. I think it was 1990.
Yeah, you got no excuse. He just disrupted your argument.
No.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
No. Hold on a second.
Literally don't
Action Jackson did not come out in 88.
Thank you for your super chat of $10.
Hold on.
Appreciate it. I literally don't want to hear your excuses.
So yeah, Action Jackson did come out in 1988. I don't know. I was
it's so embarrassing you actually said that on our show.
Yeah, shut up. I don't know.
Oh God.
In 1988, what was I doing in 1988?
I apologize, everyone.
Shut your mouth. I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the theater, but I saw it 3 nights ago.
It was literally a comic book on film. It damn near deserves to be considered a superhero movie. The stuff that man did in the movie, doing 300 cars coming towards him,
The
He did
only
a
thing that
360
here-
flip over the car.
here's the thing. The only thing that he did that was comic book kind of reminiscent was there was a scene where there was a bad guy who did some stuff, and Action Jackson, aka Carl Weathers, was like, "Yo, you're a bad guy, blah blah blah." And the bad guy, drove his car towards Action Jackson. Carl Weathers, from a standing stop, flipped over the
Not even
car.
running. Not even running.
Right, from a standing stop, he flipped over the car, did a 360, landed the guy, ran into a building, blah blah
God.
blah. But I had never seen that movie until 3 nights ago, until I binge watched it after his
He's
death.
gonna keep doubling down on that.
So, let me just say R.I.P. to Carl Weathers. Here's the thing about Carl
And
Weathers.
Brian mentions Vanity too.
Vanity,
Oh,
bless her
God.
heart, who could not act, but
She's
was
dead
very,
now,
very
right?
beautiful. Huh?
Isn't she dead?
She died like a long time
Like 10
ago.
years ago or so?
Yeah. She was
RIP
like
to Vanity.
56 when she died. Yeah.
Yeah, she was fine.
It starred Carl Weathers, Vanity, and Craig T. Nelson, aka Coach, aka the lead actor from
How do you like
Poltergeist.
your ribs? Oh man, it's embarrassing that you never saw Action Jackson.
I had not seen it until 3 nights ago, and it is on streaming. It's on bootleg. You can watch it. So, R.I.P. to Carl Weathers.
Frustrated. I need to talk to you for a second. How do you make the connection between Action Jackson and Bill Cosby's Leonard's part? How does your brain make the leap connection between those two films? Am I missing something?
Let me see when
They
that
literally
came out.
have nothing to do with each other
At all. Let me see when Linda Parsons came out.
Okay, so Frustrated is obviously smoking on that good stuff right now. That's just apparently what's going on with him.
Okay, so Linda Parsons came out in 1987. Action Jackson came out in 1988. So maybe this was a formative part of their childhood or
I know, but I mean,
youth.
there's a lot of stuff
yeah.
that happened at that time. I'm just trying to understand the connection between those two films.
Yeah,
Other than the fact they had black leads.
Right. Yeah. No, not much.
Yeah,
Not much.
That was different, bro.
So, do you want to do another commercial or?
No, I mean, you have anything else?
That as far as comic books, that was it. And then we have Black Civil War stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. I guess. You. I'll give you that. I give you that. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So one of the things that I mentioned, something that I saw on the Twitters, was a battle. If T'Challa, Black Panther, was to fight Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler, who would win? From an objective standpoint.
Well, here's the thing. Nightcrawler is restrained by his ethics and religion. He doesn't generally kill. T'Challa does not have that compunction when he is forced to. He'll kill a dude. If we're going with dark Nightcrawler, with uninhibited Nightcrawler, he'd probably win by the simple fact that he could simply teleport behind T'Challa and take T'Challa's head and just teleport it away. Flawless victory. Or take his sword and appear behind T'Challa and stab him. Assuming he can get through the vibranium weave costume. Yeah.
So this question stems from somebody on Twitter's who pitted the X-Men versus the Avengers. And there was a lot of, you had Storm versus Scarlet Witch, blah, blah, blah. And then you had T'Challa versus Nightcrawler. Personally, I think Nightcrawler would take that win. If assuming that they would actually fight. All Nightcrawler has to do is teleport T'Challa a couple of times and then drop him in the middle of an ocean or drop him in the middle of a volcano, and then that's it.
Well, the other thing is, I will say T'Challa has enhanced senses, so he could foreseeably sense a microsecond before, Kurt shows up and know where he's going to teleport to. And he's got enhanced reflexes, so he could be like, "I sense you here," and do whatever he does to kill Kurt before he fully manifests in his teleportation. But at the end of the day, all of these superhero debates are fun for fans to do. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to what?
Who's writing
the story? It's absolutely irrelevant.
From a practical standpoint, knowing the abilities of the characters in question, I think Kurt takes that. I know some of you guys may be think of it differently, but we love T'Challa, obviously.
Frustrated says Black Panther would win because he would take advantage of his morals. That's why I said, like, Kurt is restrained by his morals, which I think Black Panther would take advantage of and do a flawless victory.
Yeah, no, I think Kurt wins.
But if there's no morals and if we're taking away the moral factor, I think Kurt wins that.
Kurt wins that. Yeah,
Kurt wins that. I mean, and T'Challa's my boy. Understand? T'Challa's my boy. That's my comic book dude for life. But he takes an L. I disagree because I think T'Challa would have a record on all the X-Men similar to how Batman had a strategy for the Justice League.
You can have a record on whoever the hell you want, but if their powers are such that if they wanted to wipe you out of existence, there's nothing you could do about it. For example, if Storm wanted T'Challa gone, all she has to do, if T'Challa's walking down the thoroughfare, all she has to do is strike it with a lightning bolt. If he's not expecting it, it doesn't matter what he has on her.
His suit can only absorb so much energy.
Exactly. So, the fact that he has knowledge doesn't prevent him from being wiped out of existence. So, no. I think most folks would take him out. So, anyway. So, what else? We talked about the missing books. You got the email that I sent you?
The email?
Did you not get the email with the script? No?
No. I didn't check my emails. You didn't say go check your emails as part of this show.
Well, that's why I asked you what your email address was. But
doesn't matter. Check your email, bro.
That aside, we talked about the comic books. We talked about the missing comic books allegedly. We've talked about that battle. At this point, typically we talk about what you're watching.
I haven't watched any television in the last 4 days.
But you finished Mr. and Mrs. Smith, yes?
Yes. And I enjoyed it. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, my only criticism, I agree with you on the chemistry thing. I think a different actress for Mrs. Smith probably would have worked better. Other than that, I enjoyed the show. I binge watched the whole thing literally in a weekend, back-to-back episodes, and just binged the whole thing in one sitting. I thoroughly enjoyed that show. And a large part of that is because I like Donald Glover's sense of humor, his dark humor. It's not like, it was technically a comedy, but it's more of a dramedy. He's got dramedy. Atlanta was a dramedy. It's not funny. He does dramedies. And that's the type of humor I dig.
Okay. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, back in whenever it came out, there was a movie called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It starred Angelina Jolie and
Brad. Talking about us doing spoilers. No, I'm not doing spoilers, bro.
I mean, it's been out for 2 weeks. I mean, if you haven't seen it at this point,
man, really? You gonna do that?
Yeah, it's on you. Mr. and Mrs. Smith came out roughly 2007, give or take.
Was it that long ago?
It's been a minute. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, who both played spies who didn't know they were married to each other, they didn't know the other was a spy also. The movie was spectacular. It was a
It's a great
very
movie.
good movie.
It's a very good
Both
movie.
both of them were very good looking. There was chemistry between the two of them to the point that Brad
Brad Pitt broke divorced his wife.
Brad left Jennifer Aniston for Angelina Jolie. They were married for a period of time. Blah blah blah. Very very good movie. Donald Glover, who is one of the
Talk
best.
about documenting you cheating on your wife.
Right. All right. So Donald Glover, who is a phenomenal creator, actor, he's one of the best entertainers out there, along with Jamie Foxx. He sings, he writes, he directs, he tells jokes, and he also
Oh my
raps.
God. I don't mean to interrupt you, but look at Mark Robinson's comment.
Get that off there. No. Mark, even though your name is spelled correctly, no.
Moving back to Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right, going back to Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I hope it's just in just name and only, but many people like the show.
Yeah, and more power to them. But I love Donald Glover. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I think he's one of the best entertainers out there. The actress who plays Jane Smith is Maya Erskine. I don't know her from a can of paint.
She's a comedian.
Okay,
comedic
sure.
actress.
Great. The two of them, Donald Glover plays John Smith. Maya plays Jane Smith. They are put together to be husband and wife
by an unknown
organization, blah, blah, blah. To me, there is no chemistry between the two of them, number one. Number two, Maya is built like a 10-year-old boy. There is nothing for me attractive about this woman. When you watch the movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, obviously Angelina Jolie is fine, right? Even if she's a very attractive woman, her with Brad Pitt makes sense. This union of Donald Glover and Maya Erskine makes no sense to me. If they had chosen another Jane Smith, somebody like Nicole Bahari, somebody like DeWanda Wise, okay, yeah, I could see that there'd be, some sexual tension, blah, blah, blah. But there is nothing about their union that makes sense to me. Also, the story just doesn't make sense.
It made absolute sense to me.
Hold on. There's, if you want to throw a spoiler out there, that's fine. Episode number 2. The two of them are tasked to drug a billionaire, record what he says after he's drugged. They are not to have any witnesses and not to kill anybody. Well, what's my man's name? John Turturro, who was in what was the Spike Lee joint that he was in?
Do the Right Thing was the first one.
Do the Right Thing. Okay. He's a billionaire who was, I guess, a arms dealer. They get him aside, get him alone, they drug him. But both of them drug him. They were only supposed to have one dose of whatever the drug is.
The truth serum.
Both of them dose him. That was funny. So they start recording him. But then he leaves from the private area where they are, goes out into a public area where there are other individuals, a room full of people watching him, and he just starts spilling all the tea. People pull out their phones and start recording him spilling the tea. Well, these two supposed secret agents take him from this area back to where they live. He dies. And then they just dispose of the body. Think about this. If Mark Zuckerberg was in an area where he just starts kind of acting crazy and somebody whisks him out, don't you think people would say, hey, who was that black dude and Asian woman who took Mark Zuckerberg to a private area? You know, who are they? Oh, I have them on my phone. It didn't make sense. And I'm on
You
episode
forget.
3.
You forget. You forgot something. You forgot that at the beginning of that scene, they had already established that he was a recluse and he did not come out in public very often. It could be months, if not years, before people realize that guy's even missing.
But the recluse is sitting up here dropping all the tea in front of everybody. And people pull out their phones and start recording. And then you
Did you get
have
yourself a Galaxy S23?
people recording this black dude and this Asian woman taking him away, and then they're recording it. It's not a good series. I cannot recommend this series personally.
I disagree. I enjoyed
That's
this
fine.
movie.
That's fine. That's fine.
I thought it was very well written. The dialogue was well written. The story was engaging. I thought they had chemistry. Although I would have preferred a different actress, just visually, I think I would have preferred a different actress. I enjoyed the show. I truly enjoyed it. I hope they make a sequel. I hope there's a second season that comes out. It's not the same as the movie, because in the movie they didn't know that each other were spies. In this one, they're fully cognizant of the fact that they're the other person's a spy. In fact, they work for the same agency. And it's literally a job. It's like hey, okay, the company's asking you to do this.
They're put together as Mr. and Mrs. Smith to do tasks,
to do jobs. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And we never find out what the name of the company they work for.
Nice.
It's not a government agency. I think we can guess that. It's more like a quasi contractor outfit that sort of does work for government.
Right.
It's all you can kind of figure out.
Right.
But I dug the series. I enjoyed it. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, I did not. So the other thing that I am watching,
that's literally the last television show I watched. I haven't watched anything else.
So, the other thing that I'm watching personally, and I bailed after halfway through episode 3 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So if you followed us,
so you never finished watching the show?
No, I have no desire. I'm not interested. No, not interested.
You didn't even finish watching the show.
I have not. No.
The last episode was fun.
Okay, sure. I'll take your word for it. But if I'm at a restaurant and I'm eating a meal and bites 2 and 3 and 4 are like horrible, I'm not going to sit up here and finish the whole meal. It's horrible to me.
Well, you know, Killmonger asked if we watched our boy The Rock return to WWE.
No, I don't watch wrestling. I watched online. I saw how The Rock made an appearance with Roman Reigns, and I really wish I was into wrestling like that, because that crowd seemed very electric, seemed very, very interesting. I'm not into it, no. But
exploitation says, are we really supposed to buy Glover as a secret agent?
I have no issue with him. I have no issue with that.
He did a fine job.
Yeah, he
looked
was
like
fine.
He'd been working out a bit too. He kind of cut.
Yeah. What Paul likes. The only thing that I'm watching right now, Paul has a picture. If you pull up that picture,
I have the picture. I have a picture.
There in the DMs of Black Comic Lords. There is an anime that I'm watching called Gato Vanishing Line. You got that?
Seriously, dude?
Yep.
You want me to show this?
Yep.
You think people are actually interested?
Yep.
Fuck's sake. All right, fine. I could care less, but go ahead.
Okay. So, Garo Vanishing Line is an anime. Along with reading comic books, I'm a huge anime fan. Huge anime fan, right? Paul and I both started with anime when it came to Battle of the Planets, Robotech, Captain Harlock, things of that nature. Those are the anime that we started on back. Oops. Hold on. Those are the anime that we started off back in the day. Now anime is ubiquitous. There is not a streaming service out there that exists that does not have some type of anime content. What I appreciate about this particular anime, it's not a black centric anime at all. However,
Most anime is not black centric.
Right. Most anime is not black centric. It's typically
Even adjacent.
It's typically supposed to be Asian folks, but they look Caucasian, right?
They're usually Caucasian.
They usually look Caucasian. I mean, when you look at Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or whatever, those look like, to me at least, white folks. What I appreciate about Garo Vanishing Line is that even though it focuses on characters who are shown there on the screen, they have black characters who make appearances. And not only are they black characters, but they are not caricatures of black characters. What I mean by that is, if you've seen Dragon Ball Z, Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo is black, but he is like a caricature of a black person. That's not what happens in Garo Vanishing Line. You have actual black characters who are black. In episode 2, as an example, there is a Caribbean character who sounds like he's Caribbean.
Really?
For those yes. That's what
now
you
sparked my
I
interest.
understand that. For those who don't know, Paul's lineage comes from Jamaica. This particular
Lineage.
character,
It sounds like far away. Like
it
my
is.
parents.
You can't walk there. Episode 2, as an example, that was the first episode that had a black character that focused on this black character, who I don't know if it was voiced by a black voice actor, but the story involved this black character who happened to be what I would say is Caribbean. And it was very, very well done. And throughout the series, I'm on episode like 12 now out of 24. Black characters make appearances throughout, and they don't look like caricatures of black people the way Mr. Popo did. I really, really enjoy this series. I would highly encourage you to watch it if you are into anime. And the storyline reminds me of that of Bitter Root. For those of you who are comic book characters.
Really?
Yes.
See,
Bitterroot,
I was going to cancel culture you until I heard all this.
yes, Bitterroot is a phenomenal series that came out a few years ago with Sanford Green and David Walker. The fact that I actually know that, I got to give myself a pat on the back. Is about a group of a family who wants to protect society against demons. That's what this series is about, Garo Vanishing Line. The premise is that there are demons out there who regular society doesn't know about.
Is Mr. Popo a series?
No. Yeah, he's a character in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh.
Right. So these characters that you see on the screen right now fight against the unknown demons that are out there. And that's what reminded me of Bitterroot. So if you like the series, the comic book series Bitterroot, I think you may very well like Vanishing Line. The art is spectacular.
Where can you watch this? Is it on Netflix?
No. I watched this on Crunchyroll. If you have access to Crunchyroll, I recommend Garo Vanishing Line. So yeah. Yep.
You actually,
and again,
normally I'd call you out, but you actually kind of interested me on it.
Yeah.
I had a question. The Frustrated Fan has a question. Oh, he didn't have a question, but I have a question about his statement. Animes are getting better with incorporating actual black characters.
I watch a lot of anime.
What
I have
animes
not seen a lot of
Okay, that was my
Yeah,
question.
yeah. I watch a lot of anime. I've got, like I said, Crunchyroll. You guys don't realize how good you got it. I've mentioned this before when Paul and I were coming up. You've mainly found anime with Robotech, Captain Harlock, Battle of the Planets, and that was pretty much it. You can go
Every
to
single says Black
any.
Lagoon. Are you familiar
Black
with that?
Lagoon was phenomenal, but there were no black characters in Black Lagoon. But you can go to any streaming service, Freevee, Netflix, Hulu, whatever you watch, you will find an anime on it. Rarely will you ever find black characters. This series has actual black characters on it, specifically episode 2. Um, can't say enough. And Frustrated Fan says animes are getting better with incorporating black characters. I've not seen it, and I watch a lot of anime.
Hmm. Dutch and Black Lagoon.
But he wasn't drawn black. So think about this. When you think about Cowboy Bebop as an example,
That was a dope. That was dope. Anime.
Cowboy Bebop
Cowboy
is
Bebop
the
is
shit,
yeah.
right? The series was horrible because
The theme song. Good God.
the opening theme and the closing theme were phenomenal. The jazz in it were great. John Cho played Spike Spiegel. He was way, way, way too old. The dude who they had playing Jet was phenomenal. For those
That was a good casting. That was a good casting.
Phenomenal casting. For those of you
the
don't
one
know,
who played the woman too was a good casting.
She was cool, but the guy who they had played Jet was also the brother who they had in Luke Cage, who played
Stokes.
whoever the main bad was in the second season, the second half of Luke Cage.
Not Razorback.
Look it up. Look it up while we're talking. But that actor was a phenomenal Jet Black, right? Rarely do you ever, in my anime watching, do you have black characters voiced by black actors, blah, blah, blah. The individual who voiced Jet Black, even though he wasn't drawn as a black character, he was voiced by a black actor. He did a phenomenal job. You don't find that often. And so I will say that this particular series that I'm talking about, Garl Vanishing Line, it had black characters. I don't know if the voice actors are black, but it is good. And it reminds me of
Bushmaster.
Bushmaster, yes. The guy who played Bushmaster in Luke Cage was Jet Black in the series. The series was horrible. It was canceled after 1 year because it just wasn't good. John Cho, who I love, for those of you who don't know, he was in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Great. That was a great movie. He was horribly miscast because he was way, way, way too old. But I say all that to say we don't find fully developed black characters who aren't caricatures. But in this particular series, he was good. Thank you, Bushmaster. Yes.
If the lead character isn't black, I shrug. Shout out to the Boondocks.
Mm-hmm.
The Boondocks is the greatest black anime of all time.
That is correct. Bushmaster. Yeah.
I miss the Boondocks. There's actually a YouTube channel that does like a live stream, 24-hour a day Boondocks stream.
Oh, okay.
That I've been following. They got a new anime series coming out called Ninja Kumai. The lead detective in the series is a black character.
I have not heard about that.
Have you seen the trailer? Have you seen the trailer for Ninja Family on Netflix?
Yo, that's gonna be good.
Yeah,
that's gonna be good.
Looking forward to that.
That's gonna be good.
I love Netflix.
Yeah,
they got so much damn content.
So
I think that's everything, man. We've been on for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
I gotta get some sleep.
That's it.
So listen, thank you all for watching us. Again, If you have not liked this video, please like the video. Just hit the button right there. It just takes a second. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed to our channel already. And moreover, hit the little bell next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified when we do these videos in the future.
Yo, real quick.
Yeah.
This is Friday. Super Bowl is Sunday. I'm sorry, the big game is Sunday. Who you got?
I don't care. Although I think Mahomes is unstoppable.
Yeah, I'm
in
going
his
for
prime right now.
I'm going for Kansas City. That's who I hope wins. I want Mahomes to win. Yeah.
Wait, somebody's asking us, what do y'all think about the DC Powers book? Didn't we talk about that last week?
Yeah, we did.
Check our video last week, Frustrated. It was a whole thing that we talked about. But I appreciate your $5 super chat. And with that, you get this.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Chillmonger, the Canadian, picks up Mahomes. I don't know how he knows anything about football, but cool. Frustrated says KC because the 49ers play from behind too much.
Okay. I just like Mahomes, and I want him to win.
Mahomes in beast mode, man.
Mahomes is that dude, and
he's the new Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the league, 6 years. He's been in the AFC Championship 5 years. He's been to the Super Bowl. This is his third trip to the Super Bowl. Fourth trip, because he's 2-1 in the Super Bowl. So yeah.
Thank you very much, K Sakama. Appreciate it.
KJ Sakama.
We appreciate you.
Yep.
Fans calling, just hoping for a good game and great halftime. Who's doing the halftime show?
Usher's
doing a halftime show?
Usher.
I didn't know that.
Yep, Usher.
That should be fun. Usher's been blowing up in his tours.
So you know what? I don't gamble. I don't bet. I don't do any of that. But I wonder what the line is on how long it takes for him to take his shirt off. Because this is going to happen. I'm just wondering.
Vegas will have a line on it. Mahomes is better than Brady. He's never had a defense.
I mean, Mahomes is that dude. Like I said, he's been in the AFC Championship literally every year since he's been a starter. So, yeah. Yep.
I think Mahomes is going to look.
I hope so.
He's in his prime right now.
That reminds me, I got to put my wings down so I can get them ready for Sunday. Yep.
Okay.
Yo, all of you guys who joined us, thank you very much. For those of you guys who I know personally, thank you for joining us. Love you very much. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Peace.